This week, the Littlest League creates the biggest challenge for Keanu Reeves in Hardball.
Mark Wahlberg goes from rock wannabe to rock star.
And Lily Sobieski throws stones in the glass house.
How many of you guys ever been to a big league park and seen a baseball game? Huh?
Nope.
You guys will never be a team until you see it played right.
Keanu Reeves is a problem gambler who makes a personal bet on a kid's baseball team in Hardball. I'm Richard Roeper.
And I'm Roger Ebert. In Hardball, Keanu Reeves makes bad bets and they land him in trouble with bookies and loan sharks. And when he begs for a loan, a friend makes him an offer, $500 a week, to coach a kid's baseball team in the Chicago Housing Authority League. He hates the idea, but he has no choice. And he finds himself negotiating with his players, including G-Baby, played by Dwayne Warren, who's too small to play, but not too small to be an agent.
What are the terms?
1, Kofi wants you to tell Andre that Kofi's the best player. 2, only Kofi gets pizza when he gets the home run. 3, if he whacks it over the gate, he gets the whole pizza to take home.
Diane Lane plays a teacher in the neighborhood school who likes him at first, but is turned off by his negative attitude.
I've had some of the best fifth graders in the world, but some of them don't make it because they don't have anybody besides their mother or me telling them what to do.
So what? I'm done with all that.
Well, I just came down here to see what they see, because they're never wrong.
It's kind of inevitable in this kind of movie that the kids eventually teach the coach trust and hope as they get into the league finals.
No matter what happens today, you guys should be really proud of the season you've had, because you played like a team. And because you played like a team, I thought you should look like a team. Jefferson Albert Tibbs, I believe this is yours.
There are a lot of good things in Hardball, including the freshness and energy of those kids, but the Keanu Reeves character is never defined very well, and the whole gambling thing seems like an unconvincing setup to explain his negative attitude. He seems kind of sour and distant through most of the picture, making us wonder what Diane Lane sees in him, and there's not enough gambling material to convince us it's authentic, and we also want to know more about the kids and their home life than this movie is able to tell us. This is a downbeat retread of the Bad News Bears, and it could have been a lot more.
I think it is a lot more than you're giving it credit for. Diane Lane sees something in him because the kids that she teaches see something in him, so she's exploring that. He's sour and distant because he's got gambling and drinking problems, which tend to make you sour and distant. And he does become a better person because of those kids. Okay, we've seen that before, but I think it explores all those very well, and it does tell you a little bit about the home lives of these kids,
I don't
Roger.
think so.
So I think it does a good job of maintaining all these plot threads throughout the story.
You know, the whole gambling thing is just Duffy's Tavern, where everybody, it's like a TV sitcom where everybody hangs out in the same room and solves all of each other's problems, and every time he goes in there, those are the guys that are going to make the bets, they're going to place the bets, they're going to beat him up, they got the baseball bats.
But that's not true.
It's all one-stop shopping.
He goes to another place called Sluggers. There's another bar he goes to. There's another bookie he goes to, so it does take us out of just that one tavern. And I thought that Keanu Reeves is really good in here. He doesn't always show emotion that well in all of his movies. I think he does a nice job
I
there.
felt that he was just holding back, that he was just, okay, I'm going to go around like this all the time so everybody will know that I'm unhappy. I didn't really feel there was a person there.
No, I thought he did a really good job. I think it was a fully realized character. Okay, our next movie tries to be a hipster update of a classic, but it's about as fresh as a donut that was dropped behind your mom's fridge in 1972. The Musketeer is a dopey and predictable swashbuckler starring the charisma-challenged Justin Chambers as D'Artagnan, and yet another version of the Alexander Dumas novel about the elite royal guard in 17th century France. The dialogue is forced and unfunny, and the fight scenes, well, they're more obviously choreographed than a Backstreet Boys video. As for his romantic banter with Mina Savari's Francesca, it's downright painful for the viewer, that is.
When you look at me like that, I don't know what to say.
Sometimes it's much better to say nothing.
Tim Roth stomps around as the psychotic Febre who has kidnapped the Queen, played by Catherine Deneuve.
You bring us to the brink of war.
Well, now it's time to push you over. Write the letter.
Chambers and Roth and probably their stunt doubles, scaling walls and sliding down ladders and hopping over barrels. But so what? All those silly, flashy moves don't mean a thing if we don't care about the characters. The problem is D'Artagnan's a bore. Maybe the next time someone minds this period, they could do the Cardinal Richelieu story. At least he's interesting.
You know, I'm giving this thumbs down, too, but I came this close to giving it a pass. And I'll tell you why, for two reasons. First of all, they brought in a great Hong Kong cinematographer for the fight scenes. And I love that whole sequence where they're fighting on the ladders and walking the ladders down the walls, and then there's the teeter-totter effect, and they're sliding on the ladders. And then also when they're hanging from the tower on the ropes and having the sword fight.
And all anybody has to do is just cut the ropes and people just fall down. Instead, they let them climb up the ropes and they're jumping.
Okay,
so you like the Cirque du Soleil
logic is not required here.
You like the Cirque du Soleil
I liked the martial arts feeling of it. I also liked Tim Roth as a villain. There's a scene where he says, "I have no heart." That is, he is really about the best villain in the movies now, and I disagree with you that he's over the top. He's right at the top.
Oh, no. The top is way down here, and he's way over here.
In a movie based on the Three Musketeers, what do you want? Method acting?
But the movie's not called Tim Roth's Bad Guy. It's called The Musketeer, and it's got this Justin Chambers who's like a dime store mannequin. He's just somebody
you're right about.
Well, he's the guy who's in the movie. The movie's called The
that's why I'm giving it thumbs down.
Well, I'm glad you came this close and didn't go over the top yourself and recommend this thing, because you would have been taking that vote back at some point.
Okay, coming up later, Mark Wahlberg zooms from rock fan to rock star.
So follow your dreams, man!
And coming up next, Lily Sobieski finds herself captive in the glass house.
The accident, in effect, orphaned you and your brother. So, if this doesn't work out with the glasses, you have no place to go.
Lily Sobieski plays a teenager whose parents die in an auto accident in the new thriller, The Glass House. She and her little brother go to live with the guardians appointed by her parents, Will, who are ominous rich people named Glass, who live in a big glass house in Malibu, where she begins to suspect that something is not right about this situation. Her new foster mother, played by Diane Lane, back again on a second movie this week, takes a strong line with her.
I overheard your conversation.
Listening in on my call?
No, I was trying to get a line out, but that's beside the point. The point is, you need those kids to like you. Otherwise, you're just going to isolate yourself, sabotage yourself. You're going to have a miserable time.
Okay, I get it.
Things she sees and suspects lead her to a computer search where she discovers suspicious details about her parents' death. But wouldn't she have read this newspaper story when it first came out?
My father drove us up.
Her foster father, played by Stellan Skarsgård, is an increasingly sinister figure, and all through the movie, Sobieski's character has an uncanny ability to eavesdrop on all of his most revealing secret conversations.
6 months ago, I took on a partner, a silent partner. And, it just recently came to my attention that the little son of a was giving cash.
The Glass House is well acted and directed with a lot of visual style, but it's one of those thrillers where we more or less figure out the whole situation in the first 15 minutes, and then we have to wait around for the characters to catch up to us. There's one angle I was never able to figure out. Since the Glasses have every reason to keep these two foster children extremely happy and quiet and content, why do they go out of their way to be mean to them? Why make them share one room in that enormous house? Why alienate them? Why act exactly like the sinister villains in a thriller?
That's the only thing you had questions about? Because I had questions about all kinds of things.
That was my number one question.
Yeah, they're just creepy from the start. And I was hoping, okay, maybe there's going to be a twist where one of them will be a good person and one of them is going to save the kids or grow to love the kids. But, I mean, these kids would be pulled out of this house so quickly within the first 5 minutes of moving in there. Oh, you've got the same room together, the teenage girl and the little boy, even though there's 27 rooms in the house. And the way they lurk around, and the dad kind of has this creepy sexual thing for the young girl. I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. And the fact that it's well-directed and it has a nice style and good acting just makes it that much more frustrating. Where are the writers on a movie like this?
It has the technical ability to be a better film, but one of the things that's really strange, and I mentioned it before, Lily Sobieski, she's always in the right place at the right time to get all of the information they're trying to shovel into this plot.
Right, well, the phones in the house have that convenient listen button that you can push when you want to listen to somebody else's conversation. Just a terrible script that sinks this thing from the start.
Okay, coming up next, Mark Wahlberg dreams of glory as a rock star.
Is that mascara?
I'm in a band.
Oh,
okay.
And looking ahead to next week's openings, we'll review Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke in Training Day.
What's wrong with street justice?
Oh, what? Just let the animals wipe themselves out.
God willing.
What do you think you're doing?
Making sure nobody gets scammed into seeing some cut-rate copy band.
You could at least get the outfit right. I mean, your boots are from the Wasted Tour, and this is just like a cheap imitation of the Twisted jacket.
Rival tribute bands square off in a Pittsburgh parking lot in Rockstar, which plays like Almost Famous with hair extensions. This is a film that dares to embrace the epidemic of theatrical metal bands of the 80s, a time when the likes of Def Leppard and Whitesnake ruled the charts, whether you liked it or not. As he did in Boogie Nights, Mark Wahlberg plays a likable blue-collar mope with murky dreams of stardom, but not much real progress. He lives for a band called Steel Dragon and covers all their hits in a garage band. Wahlberg's Chris seems destined for obscurity until the lead singer for the real Steel Dragon gets the boot and Chris is asked to audition for the band.
You won the gig then?
Jennifer Aniston plays Chris's hometown girlfriend, Emily, who gets lost in the stardust as Chris rockets to fame.
You know, I can't sit in a car that follows a bus. Oh, David,
You don't have to do that anymore. I talked to Matt. We're getting our own car for me and you, and we're right together. What is it?
You know, wanting a life.
Rockstar is loosely based on the saga of Judas Priest, which really did hire a guy from a tribute band to sing lead. That these vocalists are so interchangeable probably says something about the genre, but that's kind of the point here. None of this should really be taken seriously. But there is a lot of insight into the music, the hotel debauchery, and the pathetic pomposity of aging cosmic rockers. And I really like the love story between Wahlberg and Aniston. It's genuinely touching. If you can't get enough of those campy behind-the-music specials on VH1, you'll love Rockstar.
I didn't love it. I did like Jennifer Aniston and her relationship with the character, and I like the way that kind of remained real. In other words, she came along and he wanted to bring her along, and she was a real person, and they dealt with that. But I don't know. I think, first of all, this is an oft-told tale. And you mentioned the specials on VH1. You also mentioned Almost Famous, which is a much, much, much better movie. And it seemed to me that Mark Wahlberg here never really got into the role. Once again, he's one of these... it's the same as in Planet of the Apes. He's kind of reluctant. It's like he's out in front, and he doesn't want to be out in front. So let him go back and play backup if that's the way he wants to.
No, I think he's actually much better in this. I think he does a really good job of playing this guy. This guy isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. No. And I think, you know what, it's a silly period in rock history, but they capture what it is.
They capture it,
maybe
but
it's
they
an
don't bring anything
but it's
to it. There's
they do.
New here.
The music is fun, and the rock concert scenes are very well done.
Yeah, but you
Some
know
of the best
exactly
concert
what's
scenes
going
I've
to happen.
ever seen, and a very touching love story. So I think this thing is just a heck of a good time at the movies. I had a really good time watching this film.
Okay, so that's your vote. Our next movie, named Diamond Men, is one of those wonderful discoveries you make sometimes at the movies. It's a sleeper, opening slowly around the country, but you ought to look for it because it's the best movie on this show, and that's for sure. It stars that gifted and underrated actor Robert Forster as a salesman named Eddie who sells diamonds to Pennsylvania jewelry stores. He's being forced out of his job after 30 years and assigned to train his replacement, Bobby, played by Donnie Wahlberg, Mark's brother.
I'm supporting this line with tons of advertising material. Let me show you something.
I don't like it.
I'm going to make you like it.
Bobby,
I got to cover
Mr. Ludwig is not in a buying mood.
We've got stamps.
Stop flapping the gum, son. I don't want to buy.
Bobby, why don't we get ourselves a newspaper and let me clean up the line. I'll put it away.
Diamonds are a step up for Bobby. He used to service vending machines, and the older man is appalled by his attitude. But he tries to teach him the ropes.
Who's going to buy from you?
Your customers are going to buy from me.
My customers?
Yeah, they said they were going to give them to me.
Oh, that's not how it works. They can't give you my customers. Same way you can't give me your girlfriends. It doesn't work that way.
We think the movie's going to be about sales, but then it takes a turn. Bobby wants to do Eddie a favor and introduces the older man whose wife has died to a masseuse played by Bess Armstrong.
Do you have children?
No, I can't have them. I married a couple. Didn't realize it, but No, I have better luck with dogs.
Robert Forster showed in Tarantino's Jackie Brown that he's good at playing a shy, sympathetic man, and this time the romance materializes in a way we're totally not expecting. Diamond Men, written and directed by Daniel M. Cohen, is a real discovery. Funny, touching, sexy, and deviously surprising, and in a year of so much junk, it'd be a shame to overlook a treasure like this one.
It really is a treasure. This is a movie that knows its subject, and it's confident enough to go at a certain pace. I don't want to say it's slow, because it's not, because it's very funny, and there are some twists and turns, but it doesn't just shove all this stuff at us right away. We get to learn about these characters, and then some new characters come in. Bess Armstrong, haven't seen her in a while, and she's a terrific actress, and I think Forster, kind of a little bit of a James Garner quality, that real kind of confident maturity on screen, and Wahlberg's really good in this, too, so I agree with you. I think this is a fantastic movie.
What I like about movies like this is they keep revealing new aspects or new facets. You know, you think you know exactly where the movie is going, and it isn't.
They're not just, you know, thrown in there all of a sudden as these wild turns. When you look back, you go, okay, I see how this happened. And we learn about an aspect of life that I didn't know that much about, and I think it's really authentic.
Why is it that the worst movies have no trouble at all getting into every multiplex, but make a good one, and it's hard to get it out?
With a good cast and good writing and assured directing, it's got everything you want in a movie, so I hope people look and seek it out.
I do too. Coming up next in the video spotlight, Emma Thompson gives an Oscar-worthy performance in a movie that can never be nominated.
Ebert and Roeper's Video Spotlight is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. Try Raisinets in new convenient resealable bags.
I have stage 4 metastatic ovarian cancer. There is no stage 5.
Emma Thompson gives one of the year's most powerful performances in Wit in our video spotlight this week. She plays an English professor who's always kept people at arm's length with her brittle wit and irony, and now she's dying and she's all alone. Hospitalized with terminal cancer, she finds it especially ironic that her doctor, played by Jonathan M. Woodward, is a former student.
What do you say when a patient is apprehensive, frightened?
Of who?
I just... Never mind.
What she needs at this point isn't medical treatment, but simple human kindness. And she finds it from a nurse played heartbreakingly well by Audra McDonald.
I don't feel so sure of myself anymore.
And you used to feel sure, didn't you?
Yes, yes. I used to feel sure.
Oh, Vivian, it's okay. It's all right. And it hurts. I know, I know.
The film, directed by Mike Nichols, was adapted by Nichols and Thompson from the play by Margaret Edson. It's an HBO production and premiered on cable TV. If it had played in theaters, there's not a doubt in my mind that Emma Thompson would be the front runner for this year's Best Actress Oscar. Wit is new on tapes and DVD, and it's in the video spotlight this week.
And we'll be right back with my parting shot. My parting shot this week is really a parting salute. Band of Brothers, playing each Sunday night on HBO for the next 2 months, is the best miniseries I've ever seen. Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg are the executive producers of this 10-part, $120 million epic about the Easy Company, elite paratroopers and riflemen who parachuted into Normandy on D-Day, fought in the Battle of the Bulge, and were among the first troops to occupy Hitler's Eagle's Nest retreat. With its riveting battle scenes, sharp writing, and great attention to detail, Band of Brothers is a World War II classic that makes Pearl Harbor seem like a cartoon, and that's my parting shot.
Okay, recapping this week's movies, a split vote on Hardball, but 2 thumbs down for The Musketeer, 2 more thumbs down for The Glass House, a split decision on Rockstar, and finally, 2 big thumbs up for Diamond Men. It's playing in Washington, D.C. right now. It opens in selected cities later this month, so look for it.
Remember, you can hear our reviews at ebert-roeper-movies.com and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, we'll be back with Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke in Training Day. And until then, the balcony is closed.
You know, I was just out at the Telluride Festival where they gave the Telluride Medal to HBO Films in honor of its work. And that's kind of significant because right now, a lot of the best movies are being made on cable, and the theaters seem to just been given over to the junk.
I mean, Band of Brothers is film quality.
1-800-CONTACTS. Exact same contact lenses delivered to your door for less than you're paying now. Call 1-800-CONTACTS. We deliver. You save.
Love your dryer? Hate the cord? Wind up with the Conair Cord Keepers. Zip, zoom, no more dangling cord. In folding travel or convenient midsize.
A house is not a home until it's safe. The Brinks home security system. Just $99 installed. Call 1-800-GO-BRINKS.
There's never been a better time to join America Online.
I planned all my vacations.
Get driving directions.
Email. It's fast. It's easy.
America Online. Call 1-800-4ONLINE.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by...
Regular oil changes make a big difference. Get one at Meineke, and they'll throw in free wiper blades.
At Meineke, you won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.